I'm sure that the pillow was you. I can't put the pillowcase under the microscope, but I don't need to. The burn marks are visible to the naked eye. Wasn't there something about blood samples? Fingerprints, gunshot residue, blood. Well, it explains how to confirm that something is blood. That's a start. You have to mix luminol and a hydrogen peroxide solution and then drip or spray the mixture on the blood. The solution turns blue and glows even if there's just a very small amount of blood. Okay then. Luminol and hydrogen peroxide. Aha! Luminol. And there's the hydrogen peroxide. I'll mix it with the luminol in the bowl. Okay. I can detect blood with this mixture. The clear solution turns blue if it comes into contact with blood. So, let's see what we have here. No blood. Not the slightest reaction. If I didn't make a mistake, and it wasn't that difficult, then the spot on the Baroness's bed isn't really blood. But if it isn't blood, what is it? And more importantly, why didn't Dr. Gebhardt notice anything? He was supposed to have examined everything. I'd say it's time to visit the medical center. If everything goes according to plan, the first time this monster is opened will be in the museum in Cairo. Fingers crossed. It seems impossible that Dr. Gebhardt could have shot the Baroness. He was with me when the gunshot ran out. But he must have noticed that the Baroness was lying in a pool of fake blood. Maybe he's covering for someone. Let's find out. It's probably for emergencies, in case a passenger falls down and can't walk anymore. Possibly due to rough seas, or maybe the captain's well-stocked bar. The sink looks like it's been cleaned recently. I can't say whether it was cleaned to comply with the hygiene regulations or whether there was another reason. Dr. Gebhardt was only recently hired, but the medical center would already have been fully equipped. Interesting. A tape on a reel. The reel belongs to a much better player, like the one from the Baroness's cabin. I can't be certain that this is the reel that was missing from the Baroness's cabin, but it seems quite likely. I can't be certain that this is the reel that was missing from the Baroness. A tape recorder from Saibling. Interesting. The reel in the Baroness's cabin is from the same company. A microphone was plugged into the tape recorder. Maybe Dr. Gebhardt records the results of his examinations and writes them down later. The Saibling brand, the tape that... I can't be certain that this is the reel that was missing from the... Okay. Nothing. Strange. There! Very interesting. A shot is audible on the tape, and the reel comes from the Baroness's cabin. It's all coming into focus. I guess the trash bin is in here. Right. Paper towels, plastic packaging, cartons, and... Hold on. What's this? A burst rubber glove. It's knotted, and there's a red liquid all over the inside that looks like blood. I bet good money that it's the same fake blood I found in the Baroness's cabin. Dr. Gebhardt will have trouble explaining how rubber gloves full of fake blood got into his trash bin. First, the fake blood he missed in the Baroness's cabin, and now this. It doesn't look good for you, Doctor. That's proof enough for me that the doctor is involved in this. I should report to Legrand. Time to pay Legrand a visit. No. No, don't.
Why couldn't you just leave it be? Let me go. Why are you doing this to me? You and the Baroness. Dr. Gebhardt, I don't know. Don't you understand what you are forcing me to do? You don't have to. It is almost over. You won't feel a thing. I am sorry you have to see all this. I should have used more chloroform. You have to distract him. Why? Why did the Baroness have to snoop around? Why did you have to snoop around? And that glove there. You want to plant evidence on me, yeah? I left no evidence. There is no trail. And yet you can't just leave me in peace, can you? Keep talking. Chloroform? I had it in my bag, just in case. You were supposed to be asleep. I am not a monster, you know? I have nothing against you. Nothing at all. But what can I do? You forced my hand. It's your fault. Yours alone. Dr. Gebhardt won't need much longer. On. And what next? Heart failure happens a lot at your age, especially given your background. I am still considering whether I should throw you overboard. Don't leave evidence. No evidence. But what if I'm seen? My plan was perfect. And then you ruined everything. On and on. And footrest. proper form. Still partly numb. Can't. Take it easy, Mr. Zellner. You will only hurt yourself. Shall we begin? It's almost over. I will...
Are you okay?
Thanks.
A wet towel works miracles. I told you so.
Out with it then. What were you doing down there?
Inspector, at least let the constable recover his breath.
He almost killed himself.
Me? No. Dr. Gebhardt would have taken care of that for me. Where is he?
Gebhardt is vanished without a trace. We're searching the ship from top to bottom.
One at a time. Tell me, Zellner, what did you find out?
Dr. Gebhardt killed Baroness von Trebitz.
Impossible.
Do you have proof?
Besides the fact that he wanted to kill me?
But wasn't the doctor with you when the shot was fired?
The shot that we heard was a recording. The Baroness had a tape recorder and good speakers in her cabin. Good enough to make the noise audible on the upper deck.
Is that just your suspicion, or do you have proof?
There's an audio tape in the medical center. The reel belongs to the tape player in the Baroness's cabin. And there's a sibling reel in her cabin that belongs to the recorder in the medical center. He recorded it in the cargo hold. His tape recorder has a microphone, and I removed a bullet from one of the boxes down there.
And it came from the murder weapon?
All right.
Inspector Legrand!
Let's pretend you're onto something. The shot we heard was just a recording. What happened next?
We all ran to the Baroness's cabin. She lay comatose in a pool of blood. Dr. Gebhardt pushed past you so that you couldn't get too close to the Baroness. He examined her and pronounced her dead. There was no reason for us to doubt him. The shot, the blood, the Baroness lying there lifelessly. But she was only unconscious, knocked out by the chloral hydrate that the doctor had poured into her glass shortly before.
The doctor had a glass in his hand when you came in.
He wanted to remove the evidence, but you gave me the glass instead, Captain DeConti, and unintentionally knocked me out as well.
Nonsense. There was blood everywhere. And the Baroness is certainly dead enough, isn't she?
Then who did shoot her? And when?
She wasn't shot. She was poisoned.
And yet I saw the hole in her chest with my own eyes.
Aha!
She must have been shot.
Well, ingenious. Where was she shot?
As I already said, it was Dr. Gebhardt. He had the sleeping Baroness brought to the medical center, where he had all the time in the world to shoot her.
A fine theory, but unfortunately incorrect. I examined the Baroness before she was taken away. She had a bullet wound in her chest.
Besides which, she was already cold when we brought her to the medical center.
All the same, it's worth considering the possibility. The doctor was alone in the cabin for a while. When the alarm went off, it was deafening. I couldn't even hear myself.
And I found a pillow with burn marks. Could have been used to muffle a gunshot.
And the blood?
The blood wasn't real. Dr. Gebhardt mixed up a liquid that looked like fresh blood to the casual observer, but the liquid remained red instead of becoming darker and browner from exposure to the air. That meant he had to clean the body and get rid of the bedding.
But the blood was already there when we first entered the cabin.
Dr. Gebhardt was in the Baroness's cabin before the murder. He hid a surgical glove full of the red liquid under her sheet. The Baroness, dead tired, fell onto her bed. The glove burst and the blood spread across the bed. I found the burst glove in the medical center.
But why did he do it? What was his motive?
Inspector?
It had to do with the Eye of the Sphinx. The Baroness was supposed to bring one of the keys to Cairo.
So Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven?
I don't think so, but perhaps he was working with him.
No, no, no.
Do you have anything to contribute, Constable?
Confession, sir. Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven. It's all here. He admits to everything.
What does it say?
It says, "Do you still remember, my dear Nico? The streets were wet with rain and the scent of roasted barley and fermenting yeast wafted over to us from the brewery. A dog barked until your shot struck down the innocent one. After that silence, not a single sound except for my soft steps fading on the wet cobblestone street. They made a hero of you, and I at last found peace. At least until the urge returned. Some of us are not made for retirement, my friend. I thought they would assign this case to you, and that thought pleased me. We'd finally find out who was truly the better man. And it pains me now to have to admit that you and your little gumshoe got the better of me. You drove me into a corner, forced me to make mistakes. I congratulate you on your triumph, but no one will confine the Raven to a cage. There is but one way out, and that is by my own hand. Farewell, Raven Hunter R."
Inspector Legrand.
Inspector?
I was right. I told them all, over and over again. But no one would listen.
You think that Dr. Gebhardt was really the Raven?
The things Gebhardt describes in his letter aren't part of any police report. Only someone who was there would know them.
Couldn't there have been others involved? One of the police, for instance. What if one of them changed sides?
Why is it so hard for you to accept the simple truth? There was never a new Raven. There was only ever the old one. And that was Dr. Gebhardt.
The modus operandi doesn't match. The Raven was not a killer.
Legends are rarely what they seem to be, Constable Zillner.
What about the handwriting, the wording? Does the farewell letter match the Raven's other letters?
Yes, it's his handwriting, his words. I've read all the Raven's letters, all of them, over and over again.
I never thought it was possible. A resurrected Raven.
The Raven was never dead. I shot the wrong man.
But that man had the stolen goods, didn't he? So he must have been in league with the Raven. One could hardly call him innocent. Then who was the man who was killed back then?
William Jackson, a petty thief, committed some burglaries together with his brother. Talented, but not world-class.
And they thought he was the Raven.
Some people thought it was part of his disguise. If you're a debonair master thief, what better disguise than pretending to be a common crook? From time to time you let them catch you pulling small jobs, and no one ever imagines you're capable of a major heist.
But you didn't believe it.
I had my doubts. But everyone congratulated me, and those doubts were pushed aside. It was like being caught in a storm. But eventually the storm passed, and my doubts were still there.
But not this time? No doubts telling you that Gebhardt isn't our man?
It must be him.
Where do we go from here?
We deliver the eye, and then I'll contact Paris. A task force will compare all of Gebhardt's known residences with the Raven's activity.
And if there are any inconsistencies?
You're welcome to keep an eye on the safe if you can't let it go. The ship will remain in Cairo for 1 day. That's all the time you'll have to catch your own Raven. I already have mine.
Ah, you're one of Legrand's men, aren't you?
My name is Anton Jakob Zellner.
You've come just in time. Grace, my dachshund, is missing.
There may be more important matters for me to attend to, Mr.
Director Abbas Mokhtar. And Grace isn't just a common dog. She's a purebred German dachshund, a champion.
So, the exhibition will still open tonight.
But of course, everything has been arranged. The final preparations are almost complete.
But one of the two exhibits won't be there.
A terrible loss, a tragedy. That irreplaceable Egyptian cultural treasure has been stolen for the second time.
The second time?
What? Did you really believe that the Eye of the Sphinx was found lying on the banks of the Thames?
Inspector Legrand, Professor Lucien, and Constable Oliver are overseeing the transportation of the safe. They should be here at any moment. I'll have a look around in the meantime.
Do you think that's necessary? The Raven is dead, after all.
If you mean Dr. Gebhardt, his body was never recovered. Nor the stolen Eye of the Sphinx, for that matter.
It does us a great honor that the Inspector is concerned about us. But we have everything under control.
Legrand isn't as concerned as he should be. But I am. Is the museum closed?
Yes. Only carefully selected guests may enter the museum during preparations for the gala. And of course, you're one of them, Mr. Constable.
What can you tell me about the museum's security system?
One of the best on the market. And the second eye will still be exhibited in our special treasure chamber, which is extra secure.
Treasure chamber?
See for yourself, to the right of the entrance. The eye is as safe as the British Crown jewels.
I think I'll have a look around the museum.
Please do. There's a lot to see. And you let me know if you see Grace, won't you? I hope we find her before the great inspector arrives. Isn't it fantastic how he solved the murder on the ship?
Legrand?
Of course. It's in all the newspapers. The murder of the wealthy Baroness von Trebitz, and how the great Inspector Legrand identified the murderer in just 1 day. It's the stuff legends are made of. You should count yourself lucky to have the chance to learn from him.
What exactly do the newspapers say?
Everything. It's fantastic. Someone on board must have informed the press immediately. Of course, it's a great advertising for us. The reporters will queue up tonight.
And it was reported that Legrand found the murderer.
Of course! Who else?
Well, I wasn't exactly uninvolved.
Of course. Legrand surely has assistants, but Honor to he who deserves to be honored, right?
Well then.
Be seeing you, Constable. Grace! Here, Gracie. My sweetheart. Where are you?
Oh, Mr. Inch.
Mr. Inch. There you are. I am so sorry. Baroness von Trebitz was a good-hearted woman. She did so much for the museum.
As you say, sir.
And you? Are you leaving so soon?
I'd like to go back to my hotel. These last days have been such a strain.
First, you sneak into the museum without greeting me, and then you want to leave just as quickly?
I didn't want to disturb you, and we'll have time enough tonight.
Yes, you simply must come tonight. I wanted to present Baroness von Trebitz with a medal. Now you'll have to accept it.
Of course, if you insist, sir.
The Baroness paid for all this. Without her, there wouldn't have been an exhibition or a gala.
She was very generous.
Yes, she was.
If you'll excuse me now. Constable Zellner, I want to thank you again for all you've done. You saved me, you could say.
My pleasure. See you tonight.
Бля, вся слава этому говнюку досталась. Нет, нашли убийцу.
Miss Miller probably entered the museum with Lady Westmacott. The lady must be famous in Egypt as well. Miss Miller, I'm glad to see you here.
Oh, Constable Zellner. I heard what happened to you on board. Awful. Truly awful.
All's well that ends well. You are waiting for Professor Lucien?
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow you'll be sailing down the Nile, if I heard correctly.
That's right. I'm sure it will be an amazing experience.
But you don't seem to be very excited.
Oh, but I am. It's very generous of Lady Westmacott to invite me, and especially Matty. He'll learn a lot.
But?
Well, Professor Lucien offered to join us.
Then Matt will learn even more. And I'm sure it won't be unpleasant for you either.
No, I just don't know how Matty would react if Edgar came with us.
I understand. I could test the water to see how he'd feel about it.
Would you do that? Oh, thank you, Constable Zellner.
А хрен его знает, наверное. Вся локация будет, блин. Похождение по музею, блин. Директор музея, блядь, с акцентом. Абу-дабу, блядь.
Were you able to find out why Professor Lucien left the forecastle so suddenly last night?
No, not really. We only had a brief conversation. He was still very nervous.
He was like that on the train as well. Seems to be typical of him.
It must be something to do with the burglary at the museum. It really affected him. But he told me not to worry about anything. He said, soon this would all be over.
Really? How did he mean that?
Oh, I didn't ask him, Constable.
Are there other passengers from the ship here?
Oh, yes, we arrived as a group. David Kreutzer, the violinist, was with us. So were Miss Myers and Mr. Inch. He seems to have gotten over the death of the Baroness pretty quickly. He seems positively relaxed.
I've met him. He looks on the bright side of life, so to speak. Where is Mr. Kreutzer?
He's over in the treasure chamber. Maddie is downstairs in the main hall. I'm afraid I'll hear the sound of something priceless shattering any second.
Matt will be careful, Miss Miller. I'll continue my tour of the museum.
Oh, yes, there's so much to see.
Ха-ха-ха. Амухаба дабу-дабаба. Дабу-дабус. Кошелек, главное, не проебал есть. Перейти в главный зал. Все. Музыкальный мотив пошел.
Ah, I've heard of this. Desert glass. In the great sand sea of the Libyan desert, there's a region where natural glass is found. Nobody knows how it formed. The valuable material was often used for jewelry in ancient Egypt.
Из костяков.
Several daggers in a row. The shapes and patterns look timeless, elegant. What does it say here? The dagger on the left is a replica of the dagger from the tomb of Tutankhamun. It must have been incredibly precious during his lifetime because it's made of iron. Thousands of years before the Ice Age, meteorites were the only source of pure iron. So a star that fell from the sky, bringing a substance that's harder than anything they'd known before, would have been a dramatic event. No wonder they used it to forge a weapon for the godlike pharaoh.
Жабу-дабу. Метеоритный клинок. Хе-хе. Да, пиздатый был мультик.
Aha! This shows how the ancient Egyptians were able to move the heavy blocks of stone to build their pyramids and temples. They used ropes, wooden sleds, and poles as levers. These exhibits aren't originals, of course. They're reconstructed, based on old pictures. Nonetheless, it's impressive how they managed to build monuments like the pyramids with such simple tools.
Тутумбас из говна и палки. Делали шедевры.
Lady Westmacott is an expert on Egypt. Many of her novels take place here. Impressive, isn't it? Thousands of years old and still beautiful.
That it is. They dug it out of the sand near Thebes over 50 years ago. I was there.
Really?
I met my husband there. He was an assistant on the dig and was ordered by the director of the excavation to take care of that writer. I financed many excavations in the following years, here in Egypt and in the Near East. I visited my husband, together with our son. It was the best time of my life. But a museum is no place for nostalgia. What can I do for you?
Да, там не то, что вкладки закончились, а идеи закончились.
You've had a long and successful life, Lady Westmacott.
What's that supposed to mean, Mr. Zellner? That I should be ready to leave the stage? Because I'm not.
Oh, I didn't want...
I'm here because life is here, Constable. Or was. I have never lived as much as I have here. No fame, no money can buy that.
I understand.
I'm sorry, Constable Zellner. Such an outburst isn't fitting for a woman of my age. And an English woman at that. Let's talk about something else.
Your son. You haven't said much about him. Or perhaps you did, just not by name.
You're an attentive listener, Mr. Zellner.
I was wondering why you knew so much about Miss Miller's unhappy marriage.
I stopped paying his bar tabs, stopped paying reporters to hush things up. He got to know her and went with her to America to start a new life. You can change your name easily, but not who you really are. He has my eyes, doesn't he?
The Part 2 novel is for him, isn't it?
If I couldn't provide Matthew with a good father, then at least I can provide him with a good start in life.
When I was working on the ship, I felt like one of the detectives in your novels.
You were lucky. It was an unusual murder. Most murders happen in the heat of the moment or are committed by idiots. They're uninspired. But Gebhardt thought it through. He could have succeeded.
I don't know. He made too many mistakes.
He couldn't have known that the Baroness, almost unconscious from the drugs, would lock her cabin door.
But that was a risk. The plan was too complicated and sloppily executed.
You certainly are a harsh critic, Mr. Zellner.
He could have shot her on the side deck and thrown the weapon into the sea. With no witnesses, no one would have suspected him.
How boring.
Or if it had to be a complicated plan, then he should have worked more carefully. Should have thought of everything, had a plan B in place.
Maybe he didn't have enough time. He had only a few hours to plan and commit the murder.
Still, he should have covered his tracks more carefully. The audio tape, the bloody glove, none of that should have stayed in the medical center.
Гепард хитрожопый. Все равно, блин, спалили.
Do you think that Dr. Gebhardt was the Raven?
Was? Do you think he's dead?
The letter sounded like he committed suicide.
There's your answer. Does that sound like the Raven? Being unmasked? Taking the easy way out?
My sentiments exactly. The Raven wouldn't commit murder, get caught, and then jump into the sea.
You don't want everything to be over, do you?
It's my chance to do something great. It can't be over yet.
At least you solved the murder of the Baroness. You're a hero.
That's not how the newspapers see it. Nor I. Something's missing. I can achieve more.
Careful, Constable. He who flies too close to the sun...
Is that the myth of Icarus?
To be honest, no. The story is Greek, and was only written down 1,000 years later. I was counting on the dramatic effect.
Oh, not well enough. Let's assume that the thief is still out there. Who is he?
If all this were a novel, then it would be the one you least expect.
Is that intended to be a confession, Lady Westmacott?
What do we know about the new Raven?
He's a man who would stop at nothing.
Must it be a man? And how do we know that it's just one person? There could be several people collectively pretending to be the Raven.
So, we don't know anything.
That's not completely true. We know that he or she wants the Eye of the Sphinx, and will probably strike here, assuming he or she hasn't already gone.
It may be the end of the story for me, Lady Westmacott. Inspector Legrand will arrive soon and send me to the hotel. I'll return tonight for the gala, hoping all the while that the Raven does dare to attempt a burglary. Tomorrow morning, I'll have to return to Switzerland. What an unsatisfactory ending that would be.
It wouldn't be a triumphant ending, but it could be worse. At least you'd still be alive, Constable.
Да, плетями фигачит. Потом ему надоело, он скинул и убежал, блин. Ну тебя нафиг. Ни воды, ни пожрать.
Will you attend the gala tonight, Lady Westmacott?
But of course. The antiquities, the delightful atmosphere. And who knows? Perhaps there will be another spectacular burglary.
And your cruise?
The ship doesn't leave until tomorrow. And believe me, I'd cancel the cruise for this.
As always, it was an entertaining and enlightening chat, Lady Westmacott.
I'm going to miss our little chats, Constable Zellner. Goodbye.
А, так они животные не глупые. Они там что-то неделями сколько могут без воды обходиться.
A figure of Imhotep, who comes in peace from around 2700 BC. The first polymath known by name, godfather of medicine, architect of the first pyramids, and according to legend, the inventor of Egyptian writing. He certainly achieved more than me in his life. He was a legend. The Greeks called him a god. The Romans still honored him 3,000 years after his death. Even today, scholars offer a drop of ink to Imhotep when they begin a new project. Really impressive.
Так вот от кого медицина пошла. Уроки истории сегодня.
This is Akhenaten, the only pharaoh whose portrait I always recognize. He has a very unusual head.
Инопланетянин.
Akhenaten was the husband of Nefertiti and the father of Tutankhamen, a famous family. But he went down in history as the pharaoh who wanted to eliminate the old gods and replace them with a single god. The priests took offense and he died of unknown causes.
О. Мне даже ачивку дали, что я все смотрел тут. Ну да. Просто уже там всякие ответвления. Шоу. У египтян шоу. У греков там, блядь.
Ahoy, Matt.
The statue was talking.
The statue was talking?
Yes.
And what did it say?
It said it was...
That's a very bad word.
I know.
And an English one. Don't you think it's odd that an old Egyptian statue speaks English?
Don't you think it's odd that a statue speaks at all?
That would have been my next question.
Кажется, старого послали.
And, is the statue talking to you right now?
Do you think I'm nuts?
No, of course not. I just thought you might have much better ears than me. Ears that can hear statues.
Some cop you are, Mr. Zellner. This is a mystery, and you're just making jokes.
You're right. It's just...
Don't you believe me?
We both agree that a stone statue without a mouth or vocal cords cannot speak, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. That means you heard something else. And we have to find out what or who it was.
Roger.
I'm almost a bit envious of you. Going up the Nile on a ship, it must be great.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't sound so keen.
I think my mom wants the professor to come too.
And you don't? You can't tell me.
What if Mom marries the professor and doesn't work with the lady anymore? We'd have to move to London, and I'd have to go to a new school.
You could tell your mother that it's not okay with you. She'd never do anything against your will, would she?
I guess you're right. If I'm stubborn enough, she'll definitely send the professor packing. Thanks!
This will all be over soon. Then I'll finally have time for you.
We wanted to head back to the hotel.
Certainly. And tonight at the gala, I'll show you around the museum, okay? And have you made up your mind about the cruise?
Well, I don't really know.
Ща рыжий пойдет жаловаться.
I I only see you on vacation, Mom. And now you want the professor to come too? So I'll see you even less?
You're right. I'm sorry, Professor Lucian. I think it's best if you don't join us.
But Mary...
Professor, are you coming?
Maybe we can talk about this again tonight.
Should we go back to the hotel?
I want ice cream. Actually, Mr. Zellner still owes me some.
Хе. Чё, все, надо уходить отсюда или нет? Я тут, получается, все смотрел. А, это ему не интересно, да? Урны эти. Египетский дракар. Только они как-то по-другому называли же. Обелиск. Собаки на страже. Реконструировали. Ну все, значит. Валим. Барбарис.
I can't possibly leave without having seen the eye of the Sphinx.
Чё? Так вроде все же, что там?
I can't possibly leave without having seen the eye of the Sphinx.
А куда тогда? Усатый говорит, что еще рано уходить. А куда тогда идти-то, блядь? Комната охраны. На Борисе. Выйти в тыл. Борис Моисеев, блядь. О, давай тут полазим. Прочитай газету.
I can't read what it says, but the cover features a dashing picture of Legrand. It shows an energetic young man photographed from beneath, against the sky. That's the look of a man who can catch a thief and murderer in a single day.
Да, блядь, все это типа... А ничего, что тут усатый все сделал. Сволочи. И ничего не написали про усатого.
Ancient Egyptian jewelry. I like that golden signet ring with a scarab made of jasper. In ancient Egypt, these beetles were regarded as symbols of fertility. Nowadays, we just call them dung beetles. I suppose the beetles don't really care.
Какая ирония. Навозный жук. Сокровищницу.
A great moment, Professor Lucien. Your key, please.
Чё?
Yes. Well.
А, сейчас откроют, а там нифига ничего нету.
But you have to realize that...
Thank you.
Finally. But...
Professor?
Ха-ха, почему я угадал?
I wanted to give you this.
Чё?
Well, after the burglary in London, I thought the eye might not be safe on its way to Egypt. So I secretly took it when I was supposed to place it in the safe in London.
How dare you?
I felt that I should leave the jewel to someone I trusted completely. Myself.
But the jewel was safe. From London to here, no one had an opportunity to steal it.
I beg your pardon, my dear colleague. But if that were true, I wouldn't have had it.
Congratulations, Professor Lucien. You fooled everyone, it seems. The honor is yours.
Well, that's that. Shall I explain the security system to you, Inspector?
The French ambassador summoned me. I have to get in touch with him. The press is besieging the embassy, and I have to answer their questions.
But you absolutely must come tonight. The opening of the exhibition will be the highlight of the year, and you are my special guest.
I will see what I can do. Zellner, will you have a look at the security precautions? We'll see each other tonight.
Of course, but...
Wait, Inspector. I'll join you.
Well, here we are. The Inspector will answer the reporter's questions for the next few hours. And well...
I won't take up too much of your time. I'll take a look around and then go lie down so that I'm ready for tonight.
Махинаторы, блин.
What's in the other display cases?
Other valuable originals. The eyes of the Sphinx would have been the highlights of our exhibition. Now that we only have one left, it doesn't really outshine the other valuables anymore. This room is full of world-class treasures.
What's that? A camera?
The latest model. It's called video surveillance.
I've heard about that. The images are recorded and can be viewed again later.
That's right. Images from all 3 cameras are recorded in the guard room.
Wow.
As I've said, we've spared no effort and no expense.
И первая камера наблюдения. Какой-то год, блядь. 60-70-й, может. Уже была эта хрень.
Many people picture a stone coffin when they hear the word sarcophagus, but this one is wooden. As usual, an ornamental representation of the deceased is painted on the outside in gold and other colors.
Ну да, вот я тоже думаю. Да они-то были, но они там фигли. Они тебя так все не зафиксируют это. Если там темно или это... Свет они там лучше. Еще можно разглядеть что-то, а если в темноте, толку от нее. Это понятно, что сейчас типа все более ноу-хау современное. Дроны, беспилотники летают, блять, все дела.
How is the display case protected?
It's made of bulletproof glass that's several centimeters thick. You'd need heavy machinery to open it, but even the smallest disturbance of the display case will set off the alarm.
Alarm.
Doesn't look half bad. A glass cutter wouldn't be much use. Is the display case anchored to the floor?
Why do you ask?
The Raven once stole a whole display case in St. Petersburg instead of just taking the jewels out of it.
Such an attempt would fail here. The display case is bolted to the floor and weighs several hundred kilograms.
Ты в Петербурге украл целую витрину. Киндайозы дали, да? Так, все что ли? С этим говорить нельзя. Ну, значит, валим.
This here, the gate, how does it work?
If the alarm is set off, the metal gate descends. The same thing happens at the windows and the main entrance. The thief is trapped like a rat.
As are we.
Next, I'll show you our guard room, the heart of the whole security system. And after that, I'll have to excuse
Опа, вон перо. Да вот этот лысый доктор. Гепард, блядь.
Then call the French embassy. Legrand needs to come.
Все, блин. Ты. Надо наебал, блядь. Старый, блядь. Высокий, лысый доктор, блядь, гепард этот, блядь, с усами тоже. Лысый с усами. Получается, он и есть ворон этот. А типа кого стрелял и тот инспектор когда-то, это... Он не в него стрелял, а в его сообщника. Это типа... Мстит, блядь. Знает. Вот эту диверсию устроил, блин. И дверь закрылась.
Exclusive and unique. The eyes of the Sphinx exhibited together for the first time ever. Hopefully the visitors will be satisfied with a single eye. Otherwise, all this effort will be for nothing.
Теперь туда хрен попадешь.
Unfortunately, now it's just... But it's a bit too late to change the... That bloody bomber. I mean, the chamber was filled with irreplaceable treasures. The gate is massive. I can't open it myself. The gate is massive.
Мне кажется, он специально сделал это. Ворота закрылись, а он через крышу как-то залезет и все, блин. Пока тут они будут ковыряться. Все продумано, блин. Пока они тут репу будут чесать. А может, туда и надо сходить?
He's pale and shaking, probably in shock. Director Mokhtar?
Бахтар.
Director, how can I open the metal gate?
He shouldn't have done that.
Director.
All the artifacts in the treasure chamber. He destroyed them.
And I will bring him to justice. But first, I have to get inside.
А может, ничего не уничтожено?
He's pale and shaking, probably in shock. Perhaps I'll get something out of him in a couple of...
Надо туда идти.
Constable Oliver!
Don't move!
Это дурак, что ли?
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. But I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna arrest you.
Придурок, что ли?
Put the pistol away.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Robert, be sensible.
Shut it.
Может, это ты и сделал, а я чё?
Is he dead?
Just unconscious. Perhaps he can tell us who knocked him out.
Excellent.
Don't act all innocent. It was you.
I was in the treasure chamber with the director. You, on the other hand, had every opportunity to take the guard out.
I found him unconscious. I wanted to open the gates.
And make it easier for the Raven to escape?
That does it. On the floor. Hands behind your head.
А, сейчас тебе, блядь, леща дам.
Why aren't you in the embassy with Inspector Legrand talking to the press?
What are you talking about? Legrand refused to do it.
What?
He told the ambassador that he'd rather walk through the desert for 40 years than give interviews for 40 minutes.
We have to open the treasure chamber's gate. I suspect there's a secret entrance.
No. We should open the main entrance and call for help.
Robert, think. The Raven is inside the museum, and so are we. We could catch him, but we have to give chase immediately. The two of us can finish it here and now.
You just want to confuse me.
Robert, I don't think you knocked this man out, but neither did I. I was with the director the entire time. Ask him.
That doesn't mean you aren't involved somehow. You could be working with the Raven.
So could you. We can suspect each other, open the exits, and offer the Raven every possible escape route. Or we can bring him to justice right here, right now.
No, okay. But just get this straight. I don't trust you. I'll keep an eye on you, and if you try to get away...
Understood. I'll try to open the gate to the treasure chamber now. I'd appreciate it if you'd refrain from accidentally shooting me.
No tricks, Zelna. And if we don't find anything in the treasure chamber, we'll open the gate at the main entrance and call Inspector Legrand.
Of course.
Да, рыжий придурок, блядь. Как тебя только в копы взяли. Блядь, в параше сидел бы лучше.
What are you doing?
I was looking for this. I think he's okay. After we've checked the treasure chamber, we should call an ambulance. Various bits and bobs for the office routine. Looks like even the guards can't avoid mountains of paperwork.
Телефон не работает.
We can't call for help. The line's dead. Does the alarm system call the... If not, or if it was also disconnected, I'm not sure that anyone out there knows what's happening inside the museum. I guess no one heard the explosion from outside. The treasure chamber doesn't have any windows, and the metal gates that came down could just be part of a test.
Как удобно. Никто ничего не слышал, не видел.
Maybe someone stirred something into the coffee and poisoned him with it, but the bump on the back of his head would indicate otherwise.
Хитрый гепард, блядь. А это что за хрень-то?
A monitor, probably for viewing the security cameras. There are 5 buttons down here, 3 of them labeled. Camera 1, Camera 2, Camera 3. This should be the one in the treasure chamber. As I expected, it didn't survive the explosion. All right, how do I... Fantastic. That's me, with the director. Now it's getting exciting. What on earth?
You damaged it.
No, I didn't. Someone must have turned the camera off. Or... No, it's still recording, but something's covering the lens. There. That was the explosion. Interesting.
Why is it interesting?
Someone was in the treasure chamber, and they disabled the camera. And, just a few minutes later, the alarm went off and everything blew up. The burglar hardly had time to prepare a targeted explosion, right? One more reason to go and see what happened in the treasure chamber.
Значит, он 100 пудов там остался. Ну и что, откроется?
Blueprints for the museum. Every gate seems to be controlled by its own switch. This should be the gate for the treasure chamber.
Вот и нихера не работает.
That's it.
Не помню, я его что-то запускал когда-то, хуета там, блядь. Там типа бандиты, копы какие-то там, что-то, блядь. Такая себе.
There's nothing more I can do here.
Телефон, да.
We can't call for help. The line's... If not, I guess no one... Constable Oliver can't honestly think that... He must realize that I never had a chance, although he may think that I could be an accomplice.
Туда.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm searching for a way into the treasure chamber, which is exactly what you should be doing.
I'll give you 5 minutes. Then we'll follow my plan. Open the main entrance and call for backup.
Let's hope for both our sakes that I find a way into the treasure chamber before then. I don't want to be responsible for the escape of the Raven.
Не отправился перед этим уродом.
The lances look sturdy, but they also seem to be firmly connected to the figures. Maybe I can break them off. On the other hand, there's been enough destruction today.
Всегда ломать. И потайная эта комната-то.
Director Mokhtar, I can't open the gate. Is there another way into the treasure chamber?
No. Only one way. Only one.
The director won't help me. Whether I want to or not, I have to stick with the constable. Do you have any idea how we can open the gate?
We've got to open the main gate and call for backup.
No. You gave me 5 minutes and my time isn't up yet.
Рыжий чмошник.
If you would be so kind.
И чё, в итоге все равно этот?
No, that won't work.
I gotta tell you that.
Она весит там, блядь. Фигатон, блин. А там что-то смотри. Что-то тут, наверное, должно быть. Ага.
These exhibits aren't originals, of course. They're reconstructed. Nonetheless, it's impressive how they... Locked. It fits. Constable?
Бум-палку, да.
It's moving. No, not quite there yet.
Может, через верх как-то.
The explosion wasn't strong enough to seriously damage the gate, but maybe it's a bit warped. At any rate, it won't open. The explosion, but... We were almost able to open, but not...
Да это что-то...
The director won't help me. The clock is ticking. Sooner or later, the constable will lose his patience, and I'll lose my chance to get into the treasure chamber alone. We were almost able to open the gate, but not all the way.
Пainkillера захотелось. Что делать-то, моя?
This security gate is also closed. Once the alarm went off, no one could have left through the official exits. I'll leave the gate closed until Legrand has surrounded the museum with his army of policemen.
Чё, попробовал бы этот рейдж проиграть. Все, там уже делать нечего. Все прошел. Блять. Шо за тутумба, блин? Нашел палку, блять. Нихера. Таран ищи, блин. Блин, да шо за ё-моё-то? Бля, он же хотел это копье еще одно тронуть, блин. Не хочет ломать экспозицию. А палку из витрины... А, подожди. Там же он валяется от этой... флага. О! Хоругуви. Хоругуви, блядь, что? Короче, металлическая хрень. Еще одна. На вдвоем.
All right. It has to work. Constable Oliver, could you lend me a hand?
Ну, это... Типа, это... Вот эта металлическая хрень.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
По-египетски, типа, блин.
Director Mokhtar, hurry! Put something under the gate.
Huh?
Director!
Очухался, блин.
No luck.
It won't open any further.
Put it down, quick! That'll hold it.
I wouldn't bet on it. We should hurry.
And inform Inspector Legrand.
First, I'll get an overview of the situation.
You don't think I'm going to leave you all alone with the jewel, do you?
I doubt that the jewel is still in the treasure chamber.
But how?
I'll be watching you.
Then you'll have to come with me.
If you haven't heard anything from me in 5 minutes, me, not Constable Zellner, then open the entrance and call for help. Understood?
Okay.
О, блин. Фига себе, дырина, блин.
Whoa, indeed.
Все разнеслось. Теперь по... Так получается в полу, блядь.
I think it's a normal rope with a velvet covering. A metallic quick-release fastener connects the cord to the stands.
Он заминировал, блядь, оттуда, что ли? Хера, блядь, диверсант. Это как надо было отрыть яму, блядь.
Fortunately, the ceiling is quite high, and the gate was still ajar. Otherwise, nothing in this room would have survived the shockwave. I suppose the camera was hit by a chunk of flying debris. It will take a long time to clean and restore everything, and some things are surely lost forever. The cord should hold my weight, but it's too short. Let's hope that at least some of the artifacts withstood the explosion. Why didn't he just drive through the wall with a tank? Reckless ignoramus.
Чебуря.
What do you think about this?
That's a right mess.
You can say that again. Would you give me your flashlight?
You can't seriously expect me to say yes.
No, not really. So at least give me a bit of light. This explosion was much more intense than the one in London, wasn't it?
You can wouldn't say that again. Imagine what would have happened if the bomb had gone off tonight.
He didn't risk it. We must have made him nervous.
He couldn't have chosen a better time. Legrand isn't here. There are only a couple of guards and almost no witnesses.
Still, I would have thought he'd wait. Remember the train? Our opponent has a penchant for drama. He's vain and wants as much publicity as possible.
Even vain people don't want to go to jail.
True enough. Okay then. So what do we do now?
Дай фонарик, рыжий долбоёб. Все равно туда не полезет.
This is it. The grand finale, with Constable Oliver at my side. I'd rather have another partner for this dance, but it could be worse, I guess.
Ну чё, надо туда спускаться.
You don't want to go down there, do you?
That's how the Eye left the treasure chamber.
Oh no. No way. We've seen enough. The Raven is gone. We need to get Legrand.
Долбоёб рыжий. Ага, куда ты уйдешь? Все.
Great. You happy now?
You could say that. Will you give me some light?
Поезд уехал. Хе-хе-хе. Рыжая скотина.
Give me some light.
Ну что-то, блядь.
The cord is too short. It'd be no better. The clasps aren't really made for heavy weights, but I think they're strong enough. Not the best rope in the world, but it will have to do. I let myself down into the hole with the rope.
You can't be serious.
This isn't a matter for discussion. I'm going down there. You can join me or stay here.
But you don't know what or who is down there.
That's why I want to go down there. Besides, maybe I'll find an escape route for us.
All right then. Should I hold the rope?
No. You take care of the light.
Yeah, why not?
Надо такой помощник, блядь.
I'm down. Give me some light, Robert. Are you all right?
Yes, yes. Have you found an escape route?
I'm working on it. I'm going to examine the display case now. As I expected...
Empty?
Yes. The display case didn't survive the fall. The thief just had to pluck the jewel out. Actually, I thought the display case would survive the fall more or less unscathed. And 3 of the 4 windows did survive. Shine the light over there, please. A map of Cairo. It's covered with hundreds of small holes, and there are some pins on the floor. There's a date in the corner. 1940.
Как, блядь. Подземелье какое-то.
There are cracks in the wall and scuff marks on the floor.
A secret door?
And probably the Raven's escape route.
Can you open it?
There are several panels and kind of a handle. But I can't turn or pull or push it. Something's written here, but it's too dark. Hurry down with the light.
No, the Raven is trapped. We should call Legrand.
Долбоёбина.
Do you think this door leads to a dead end? With every minute we hesitate, the Raven's trail is getting colder.
But we should take it one step at a time. We're alone, and the Raven is dangerous.
What would Nicholas Legrand do in this situation? Would he wait for backup and twiddle his thumbs, or would he act?
Oh, blast.
Robert, this is our moment. Time to show them all. When the others arrive, they'll see that we didn't just dare to enter the basement. No, we also found an escape. How do you think that will sound on the police report? Constable Oliver and Constable Zellner laid the foundation for the arrest of the Raven with competence and quick thinking.
Okay, here's what we do. I'll hand you the lamp, and you open the door. Then we guard the door and wait for backup.
I couldn't have put it better myself.
Right. Catch, but hurry. I don't want to think about the fact that I'm standing here in the dark, surrounded by mummies.
Сожрет мумия.
That's better. What's that?
Hey, don't go too far away.
Come down and stop me. Interesting. Some kind of wooden hatch. There are 2 hinges on this side. There's a kind of metal hook holding the hatch closed. I'm the talking statue. I really like to teach bad words to the little boys. At least that riddle is solved now. Peepholes. And I suspect... yes. The Raven couldn't have gone this way. We'd have seen him and he couldn't have closed the bolt from outside. I'm positive he escaped through the other secret door.
Why is it suddenly so bright down there?
I found the light switch.
Вот она, потайная дверь, значит.
That is interesting. 4 discs. An extravagant combination lock. If it was just another language with a Latin alphabet, I might be able to guess the meaning, but I'm lost when it comes to Arabic. I'll write them down. It could be a hint about how to open the door.
Тут даже какая-нибудь подсказка нахуй.
Interesting. Documents, maps, letters, all of them at least 20, 30 years old. I wonder how the Raven knew about the secret basement. He must have done some research and then paid someone for the missing information.
Здесь где-то должна подсказка быть.
The museum still has plenty to offer, despite the senseless destruction in the treasure chamber. The museum still has plenty to offer. Various containers. Maybe they contained funerary objects. The lids depict animals and a person. That alone doesn't really help me. The lids depict animals and a person.
Кто там? Собака, обезьяна. Это орел, блядь. А, погоди. Что там, блядь?
Zelna, is that you?
It is I, the Raven.
Did you find an exit?
No, I'm still looking. The basement is quite large.
Okay, don't go too far away.
Обосрался. А, погоди.
What are you doing here? You were just...
I found another exit.
The eye?
Gone. The Raven blasted a hole in the floor of the treasure chamber. There's a hidden basement beneath it.
And the other treasures?
It doesn't look good.
Oh, no.
Director Mokhtar?
Isn't it about time to open the gate?
I don't believe that the police have arrived yet. We can't risk giving the Raven a means of escape.
That monster is surely long gone by now.
Perhaps not. I have a lead.
Do your best. As soon as the police have surrounded the building, I'll open the gates.
Very well, Director. The basement below the treasure chamber. Did you know about it?
I had no idea.
There are maps and drawings from the Second World War in the room. Why?
Well, it may have had something to do with the resistance.
Resistance?
Egypt was occupied by the British. There was a movement for independence.
The Egyptians collaborated with the Nazis?
No, but the enemy of my enemy.
So, the rebels reported information to the Nazis, and for that, they needed secret command posts.
Yes, and what would be of more symbolic importance than the Egyptian Museum, witness to 5,000 years of Egyptian independence?
Hidden rooms? Secret basements? What are they doing here?
The museum was built in 1900 by a Frenchman who had a penchant for such things.
Mystical torchlight ceremonies celebrating the builders of old? Freemasons? Things like that?
Many great buildings have complicated histories.
And today we're going to write a new chapter. I found this Arabic writing. What does it mean?
It says, the sons of Horus.
And that means?
Is this really the time to discuss history?
It's important.
The sons of Horus played an important part in the burial ritual. 4 sons, 4 canopic jars, vessels in which the liver, lungs, stomach, and intestines of the body were stored.
Are the 4 connected to symbols?
A man, baboon, jackal, and falcon. Look downstairs in the main hall.
Sons of Horus, vessels and intestines. Got it. It's going to be okay. Wait here.
Where is the constable, anyway?
He's guarding the treasure chamber.
He told me to call for backup if he doesn't come back in about 5 minutes. And that I shouldn't trust you.
If you count on the constable, you're backing the wrong horse.
He's Legrand's man.
Did you ever think about the fact that he's the only one who was present at both burglaries?
Oh.
I'd better leave him be.
Что за...
I can't open the gate alone, and I don't want to anyway. I have... The constable beside. The guard is still unconscious. Not terribly polite to just leave him there. Sarcophagus from the Old Kingdom. On the front, you can see the tutelary deities Amset and Happy. At a later date, it became traditional to show all 4 sons of Horus on all 4 sides of the sarcophagus. Each son signified a cardinal direction: Happy, the north; Amset, the south; Quebecsenuef, the west; and Duamutef, the east. Each son of Horus is associated. Happy is